I know I've been on a Divorce Diaries rant for quite a while now, but I just want to take a break to just remind you about this podcast and how I record it. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast everywhere. Seriously. On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, that's anchor.fm to get started, or download the Anchor app.
You are now listening to the Divorce Diaries podcast with your host, well, that's a secret. No names, ages, or any other identifying characteristics will be used as we protect the young and innocent. You'll be taken on a journey as one man considers getting a divorce or remaining married. The Divorce Diaries daily entries chronicle the decision-making processes in real time as they unfold day by day. He hopes to add a bit of clarity to his sometimes muddled mess of a marriage. Cheating, overspending, sex, sadness, and betrayal are the characteristics of this marriage. Is he making the right choice? Welcome to the Divorce Diaries. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else. At Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link below in description. Now for today's episode.
Welcome to the rebooted Divorce Diaries podcast, where I do not bitch, complain, and moan. And a very angry, frustrated, I'm so hurt, oh, life's got me down, woe is me kind of way that I did in my first bunch of podcasts that are now taken down. If these podcasts ever go live again, it'll be on Patreon for the sole teaching purpose of trying to help men who don't realize how mad or sad or in their feelings, butthurt they really are. How potentially overly sensitive they are, how their perspectives are all fucked up and twisted, as mine were. And I just wasn't able to accept life and people for what they were, and I was a massive control freak because of this lack of understanding that I had. Because like think of how frustrated a fish would be if the fish had to live on the top of a mountain. No, like legit, top of a mountain, no water, they're just there. The fish is going, why did you bring me here? I can't breathe, and they're just going to be struggling the entire time until ultimately they die. That's what I was doing, because I didn't want to just accept the rules of the world, of the road, of my marriage. I didn't want to respect what they needed to be. We were two independent people living together, sort of trying to make the best of it and sort of make up a lot as we go along. And my arrogance in thinking that it would be easy, or the other person would just know what I'm thinking, understand what's going on in my mind, interpret every situation with the same interpretation. No, that is not the case. Marriage is a marriage. Hey Siri, define marriage.
The legally or formally recognized union of two people as partners in a personal relationship. Historically, and in some jurisdictions specifically, a union between a man and a woman. Do you want to hear the remaining one?
No. So the funny part about marriage, it's a partnership between two people, and there's got to be certain things that I'm putting in, certain things that my wife's putting in, certain things that we're taking out as individuals, with some common goal of this partnership advancing and progressing. And the selfish perspectives of, yeah, I'm going to do it this way, and you're going to have to get on board, or I should be free to do it this way, and you're going to get on board. That is sort of closer to how we operated as a husband and wife. There wasn't much that was joint. There were attempts at making certain things joint, but sometimes those efforts to make certain things joint, it started with someone's individual, first 1, 2, 3 steps, and then the other person, just because the thing wasn't done yet, they just kind of came in like, oh shoot, this is where you are. Okay, cool. It's like you walk into a room and you see someone and they're balancing like a stack of books in their hands, and the stack of books is maybe, let's say, 7 books too high. They're holding the books at their waist. And if you can imagine that whole thing where it's like books are piled up in one line in front of the person's face, their hands are underneath the stack of books, and they're just kind of wobbling back and forth. And that tower of books is sort of swaying back and forth. And as soon as you open the door, you see this, and you run over and you try to grab the sides of the thing and you brace it and you start to comfort the person. It's okay. I've got it. I'm here. Where are we walking? Where do we put these things? What's going on? So it's really easy to understand how clearly something like walking in, seeing what is objectively understood as, I'm about to drop these books. You immediately rush over, help the person, and ask a few questions, and they start declaring those answers very quickly. We're going over to the hutch. That's where we're going to put them, on the bookshelf over there. If you could just, okay, I'll back up, you go forward. That's how we'll, and everyone's just talking, and there's this overt sense to solidify the partnership we know we're now in based on the task that is before us. That's what a marriage is supposed to look like sort of all the time. But preferably before you pick up the stack of books that's too tall for you and you get a little in over your head. But either way, if you picked it up too soon, one person's supposed to rush over with the good intention of helping you. You're supposed to understand that they just saved your ass, and you're supposed to say, okay, here's where we're going. I kind of picked up too many, but it's okay. I'm glad you're here to help me. That is what marriage is supposed to be. Not you open the door and books are all over the floor and your significant other is in the pile of the books fucking crying their eyes out. And you're like, hey, what's going on? You go in and you console, which is good, because sometimes we do make messes that we didn't intend to make. And the person does have to come along and help us pick up the pieces, because that's a part of the partnership. The partnership is sometimes a partner might make a mistake, or sometimes things may not go according to plan, and you got to save them. You got to help them. You got to rescue them. And you may also need saving, helping, or rescuing. And I will say one thing that I did wrong, big thing that I did wrong, as far as the rescuing is concerned. I looked down at my wife for the mistakes that she would make, for likely the sole reason that I don't make those mistakes. So in my own way, I felt like I was better than her. I don't have these financial issues. Oh my gosh. I save my money before I spend it. And look at you, spending it before you save it. You don't know what you're doing with money. I do. I'm better. Could you imagine being in a partnership with somebody like that? Because I just made a second problem. The problem is and was my wife's handling of finances. I had that was an issue, and not really an issue because she spent money before she had it. Not necessarily. It was likely an issue in our marriage because we didn't have an agreed upon, like a partnership, we didn't have an agreed upon way we were going to handle finances. And since we didn't have that agreed upon way we were going to handle finances, technically speaking, what my wife did or didn't do with our and the family money was never going to actually be right or wrong because we didn't come up with a partnership agreement. So, how could I fault her for something that we never agreed upon? Now, I understand as a matter of practicality, you should really get to know the person that you're going to marry, see how they handle money, to see if this type of financial approach is one that you are going to be willing to and want to live with before you consider matrimony and that partnership. But if you've never talked about it, you can kind of only get so mad when the person doesn't, quote unquote, do what you want them to do. And that's what I did. So I created a second problem. I strung her up in the middle of the town square and said, hey, look, here's what you're doing, here's what you did, and I'm pointing at her. Pointing out the thing that she did wrong. She did it wrong, okay, but it's technically, like I said, not wrong because there's no agreement, but she did it. And now here I come, her partner, piling on. Piling on is one of the worst things you can do. And another thing, which is really the subject of this podcast, is I never really let my family, or the people that I quote unquote claimed to love, I never let them learn from their own mistakes. So I added again to quote unquote problems. I did. The lessons that I have learned have been the things that I've been able to sort of be able to an extent, muddle through and figure out on my own. Those are the things and those are the times that I've been able to really save myself, my sanity, figure something out, and really learn and actually not repeat the mistake again. But I would always swoop in and I'll do it. Man, you got yourself into credit card debt, I'll pay for that. I'll get you out of that debt. And I had a fucking probably superhero bullshit husband complex. And that bullshit superhero husband complex was, once I bail you out of this, one, you'll see just how much better I am at handling finances as you. I'm so good at it that I was not only able to maintain and meet all of my financial obligations, but I was able to fiscally manage myself in such a responsible way that I can also save you from drowning in yours. What a dick move and dick thing to do. If I wasn't going to vet the financial literacy and competency of a person I was going into partnership with, I deserve to go into bankruptcy with them. I deserve to have bad or strained credit with them. I deserve to not have as much money as we could have saved up and stocked away with them. I was a bad partner. Me saying that, like in all of the episodes that I recorded initially, that were just complainy bitch sessions about things that my wife did that displeased me or didn't do that displeased me. I didn't even enter into an agreement. I watched a lot of Judge Judy. She's one of my favorite people. I have a big crush on her, and I don't know if it's actually professional or if it's personal. I love that old lady so much. Ooh, Judge Judy. Keep me away from that woman. Anyone who knows me will tell you. But not letting someone fail, quote unquote fail, in a safe way with your support won't inspire trust and love from that person toward you. And I know I didn't inspire trust and love from my wife toward me. I know I didn't. I couldn't have. Because I have been in positions where I felt like I have underachieved or missed the mark, and I felt like keeping that truth from, let's say, my parents, because I knew what they would say. I was not going to be met with understanding, and I was not going to be met with grace. Wow. Oh, okay. I see we've got a D. Usually you've been carrying pretty much a B and an A in this class. Is there something going on that caused this B? Because this is unlike you. Oh, well, I mean, there's this girl I've been talking to, or maybe I resist and I say nothing. And they say, okay, well, help me out here. You know, if you need some time to think about it and sort through, because I know you're in high school and it's a lot going on. You just, hit the 10th grade, and, I know these maths can be hard, and I know sometimes maybe some of the distractions that you maybe were able to juggle last year and as a freshman, maybe there's something new. Is there anything that might have caused this? And then maybe with that understanding and that openness, I say, well, there's a girl, and I haven't really been doing my homework, and I've been focused on her. All right. So first off, I passed opportunity shit test number 1. Opportunity shit test number 1, as a parent, my parents didn't say, a D? A D? You're grounded. You're losing your phone. That's it. But I'll bring it up. No, you can't bring it up. You already have the damn D. It's over. Give me your phone. No video games, no privileges, no this, no that. No. So now I'm now dealing with this. I'm dealing with now I'm punished. And the reason that I have this D is because I met a girl, and I haven't been doing my homework, and she and I have been talking on the phone till 2 a.m. when I'm supposed to be sleeping. And I'm not scoring as many points on the court because I'm not rested. And I have skipped a couple of weight training days. And I am just totally solely focused on this girl, and my schoolwork and my athletics are suffering. And the reason I had A's was because I did not have this girl in my life as a freshman. So shit test number 1 is passed. How about shit test number 2, which could be, well, I see. A young lady has your eye. What's her name? Tell her the name. Okay, how long have you guys been talking? Well, it's been about this. We're not talking about the grades at all. We're not talking about the grades. We're not talking about do I know the math? Should I go into after school coaching or studying program? What should happen with me? We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about this thing that I'm interested in, this thing where I have been living my life in this thing in my life, this new ingredient that is robbing me of all my time and my productivity. I'm being a very good boyfriend to this girl, but I may not be being the best student for my future or the best athlete for my future. So, shit test number 2 passed. And really, over some girl? A girl? That's what's got your head all in the clouds? Because that's just saying, hey, this thing that I care so much about, you think is the dumbest shit in the world, and I am an idiot for letting myself fall victim to liking a girl, which is one of the most natural things and is actually one of the biggest things that I'm so happy about in my life, and the thing that I'm most pleased to do and spend my time with. You didn't just shit all over it and her and me, our relationship, and my intellect. You actually had a conversation with me and embraced what was happening in my life. And then you can come in with the parenting after that with something along the lines of, okay, I think it's good that you have a person in your life that you like. And what do you think we should do to help you find a little bit more balance so we can get these grades up, but you could also have a good, productive relationship with your girlfriend? How about she maybe, if our parents are okay with it, maybe we could meet and maybe you guys could study together here so you guys can sort of get a little bit of time but also get your studies done? How about that? Then all of a sudden I've created sort of a teammate bond with my parents. And I feel like we're in, what's that P word? Fucking partnership in my life. So now I don't feel the need like my wife did feel. She articulated this to me, that she's just like, I never felt like we were partners, and I didn't feel like you had my back. I felt like you were just going to criticize. I felt like. And I mean, that's true. That doesn't let her off the hook, but I can only control what I can control. And I didn't have to kick her while she was down. I still could have found a way to be her partner and her teammate, even though she might have made a quote-unquote mistake. I could have found a way to be better during those times, and I wasn't. So if you're married, you're thinking about getting married, you're wanting to get married, are married, really take some time and examine if you had a role to play in the resentment that may exist from your spouse toward you. It will be difficult at times to try to find the flaws in yourself when you've only been focused so much on the flaws of your spouse, the person you're in a long-term relationship with. It's hard, but you can do it, and it may take a while, and hopefully you can do it before your marriage falls apart, because none of us got married or is getting married or did get married so that we could get a divorce. So if you're going to enter into this holy matrimony of partnership, you really, really need to strive and try to be a good partner. You have to. Because you might find, like I have, there's a lot more blame to go around that's on my plate than I thought. Because when you're in your feelings, you just don't fucking see straight.
Wow, that was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The daily saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.